Hello, hello. Welcome to the first incoming series of recitals. This was an idea that came upon when I heard a fellow coach speak and recite a verse that he had written. And this is somebody that I met just a couple of months ago in the coaching space. And the voice, the serenity, the poise with which he recited it just got an idea triggered because he was talking about mirror, mirror on the wall. And in one of my lives recently, I did speak out the poetry, and I would call it speak it out because I cannot do justice to it the way he did that day. And so, on demand, and because you were interested, I said, let's have a recital together. So, without further ado, here I have with me Gopalan. Welcome, Gopalan, to the live. Welcome to the session and to recitals. Thank you for saying yes.
Good evening, Rukaya,
Thank you.
and thank you for giving me the honor to be on this platform with you.
My pleasure. Absolutely. So we have Johnny watching us, our colleague up here.
Hey,
Thank you.
Johnny.
Thank you for tuning in. So what we're not immediately going to jump into the poem. We're just going to speak about first, I'd like to understand from you what led to that. What led to that piece of beauty?
For me, poetry had always been a part of my life, and I picked up writing poems by accident because I was required to do literature in school.
Ah,
And apart from English, that is English literature. And I was taught by a native Englishman,
mm-hmm.
and I enjoyed the classes, but I hated the subject.
Ah,
So I
mm-hmm.
was like, how would anyone actually write poems and actually appreciate poetry? But as I went along, I found myself writing and enjoying writing verses as an expression. And that just flowed. I didn't hold back. I said, no, 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 this is not for me. But since it came out so naturally for me, I said, okay, let's see where it goes. And for many years, I wrote. And after that, for some strange reason, I stopped writing.
Mm.
And for the last 30 years, I never wrote anything. And then after I retired, I found that I had that space. And I realized that for 30 years, I didn't have that space, and probably why I didn't write. So when I had the opportunity to actually have my own space, my thoughts started getting creative again.
Mm.
And a couple of months ago, I started writing again, but far and in between. But as I saw it towards past July into August and September, it's more and more I'm writing
Lovely,
verses.
lovely.
Yeah.
Thank you. So, without keeping our listeners waiting, because we do have quite a few people who've joined. So, and to wish those in Australia a very, very happy New Year. And let's start with this beautiful piece of literature. Thank you, Gopalan. Please, the stage is all yours.
Thank you. And here I share a poem I wrote a couple of weeks ago, one entitled Mirror, Mirror on the Wall. Mirror, mirror on the wall, do I know me at all? Who am I looking back at me? Mirror, mirror, if I fall, does that and did all? Who am I looking for in me? Whom have I been? Which ones are you reflecting back at me? Mirror, mirror on the wall. Whom am I going to be that I've yet to see? Did I just drop the ball? Mirror, mirror on the wall. Is that really me whom that I see? Mirror, mirror on the wall. Tell me, who am I after all? Thank you.
Thank you. So, thank you. Seriously, yes. Beautiful, serene, and absolutely reflective. So many elements to it. When I heard you that day, for me it was more like, okay, he's addressing so many areas. So it's not just the mirror, it's not just the reflection, but also the fact that there are so many dimensions to us. Yes.
Yes, yes, true. Because the mirror is only showing you what we think or feel we are reflecting on. Yet, the mirror may also be showing things that you're not really seeing.
Yeah. I am replying to Cindy, who says it's a great poem. I love it, she says. So I said, thank you, Cindy. Didn't it
Thank you.
sound so
Thank
much
you, Cindy.
so didn't it sound so much deep in his own voice? So yes. Now, if we were to look at it from the coaching perspective, and we just take a quick look at it from the coaching perspective, what is the mirror telling us?
If you look at from a coaching perspective, the mirror is putting it across to you as part of the process of reflecting who you are, whom you have been, and whom you are going to be in the future.
Yes.
So it is a three-dimensional approach to the process. And that's why the mirror, if you don't clean it regularly,
Mm-hmm.
it may seem clouded too.
True that. True that. And I think it was when I don't even remember the quote, but this is what I was sharing about having smudges and dust on your mirror, and when that happens, you don't tend to see the reflection also clearly, and sometimes the mirror becomes old, and the plating at the back begins to chip off, and sometimes there's a crack and you can't really see the image very clearly. So there's so many things that really influence how the mirror itself is able to reflect back at you.
I must share a very amusing moment
Yes, please.
with my wife. She generally do not clean her spectacles lens regularly, and is so smudged sometimes. But that's so normal for her. That's how she is every day, and she sees that as I'm okay. I'm seeing what I need to see, right? But the moment she cleans it, she finds it too clear for her to absorb, and she gets a headache.
It's almost like letting the sunlight in.
Yeah.
So we have our peers supporting us all the way, cheering us. Johnny says, "Sounds so good, Gopalan," and he says,
Thank you.
"MCC level, Gopalan." Coaches need to keep the mirror reflective. Yes, they do, and everybody actually does. And I think in their own right, everyone is a coach, whether you are a coach or not. I mean, as in a certified or whatever. Everyone's a coach. Even that little baby who's standing up and falling and still going on and standing again is teaching us something, right? Even that little person is a coach if you observe him that way.
That's true. we have a lot to learn from the people around us. We just need to be more open to receive those messages.
True that. True that. And speaking of messages, we have Srinivas who says, mirror is great. Mirror doesn't change, it just reflects. It just shows what is showing up. A coach is to learn to be a mirror without involvement. Just be and help the person in front and see. Help the person in front see and reflect. Thank you.
So what that means basically is that be non-judgmental. You're just reflecting for your client, right?
Yes.
The client needs to see from the reflection that you're giving him.
And I take things a level up, and I'm sure a lot of us seasoned coaches would do that too. I always like to take a step back after a session to see what was it that I could learn from the client, and where am I being that person as well. If someone's being insecure, if someone who comes to me for coaching has a relationship issue or confidence issue, so I ask myself, where am I being that person, so that I understand myself better and am able to serve the other person as well better.
That's true. That's true. And that's why I mentioned whom am I going to be that I've yet to see. And
Yes.
did I just drop the ball?
Yes. Did I just drop the ball? And Cindy has a good question for us. She says, and sometimes we ignore what we see in the mirror. Denial, she asks. What are your thoughts on that?
Yes. Half the time, actually, we don't accept what we see. The truth hurts sometimes, and I think this reminds me that truth is sometimes a concept until there's enough people believing it, then it becomes real. Yeah, someone told us, Johnny and me, that the only thing that's real is pain when you feel pain.
Yes. And
So
again,
even happiness is not real.
everything seems to me is subjective. Even
Yeah.
a reflection and even denial, for that matter, I think is very subjective. And truth itself is subjective, isn't it? Because what is truth after all? It's there's a version that's mine, there's a version that's yours, and then there's the truth.
Yeah.
So it's all subjective. Mirror being a mirror unto self, adds Johnny. And Srinivas says, we also don't want to face the mirror. Yes, we don't. Sometimes we don't.
True. True. So the mirror actually represents uh, a lot of things for different people. For one, it is to check on how that person is in that moment before he leaves the house, he or she leaves the house, to see, am I looking good? Am I reflecting the right attitude, right? And am I dressed well? You know, I'm going for a meeting, so am I looking my level best? Yeah. And sometimes you look at the mirror and says, nobody wants to talk to me. I have to talk to the mirror at the extreme end. So the mirror actually can be a representation of different facets of our own thinking, our own connecting with ourselves.
So true. I think one of the experiences I had of really looking at myself into my eyes in the mirror and saying, I love you, was tough, because when you look straight into your eyes and say that, and then when you question that or feel like, oh, this is the first time I'm hearing it from you, where have you been all this time? It's like, oh, wow. So I think let's invite people to actually do this. Where look straight into the mirror, look into the
Yeah,
mirror, into your eyes, and just say, I love you to
yeah,
yourself.
yeah. That's why questions are always asked. When was the last time you visited yourself?
Oh, yes.
Remember that conversation.
True.
Yeah,
Yes,
because
yes,
the lesser you speak with yourself, a stranger you become.
to yourself.
Yeah,
Beautiful. So, what reflective questions would you like to share with the listeners today?
reflective questions. For me, um, looking back the last 12 months, the questions that I have had for myself to reflect on was there life after 43 years in aviation?
Hmm.
Was there life after Singapore Airlines? Was there life after aviation ground handling? And as I was going along my coaching journey, when is it really going to happen?
Hmm.
That level of impatience, the level of I might be retired from 43 years in aviation, but I've certainly not retired from life. And if not for the coaching journey, I'd probably be doing nothing really significant. I wouldn't have published 6 articles and published it on LinkedIn. I wouldn't have been sharing my thoughts for the day the last 6 months.
Yes.
And that keeps me thinking. That keeps my mind alert and allows me to connect with people every day. So for me, that is the kind of reflection that I went through with myself. So I wouldn't really say a reflective question to share, but
Hmm.
a sense of constantly self-reflecting
Hmm.
to keep checking with yourself. How is this conversation going so far for you? What are you learning about yourself today? You know?
Hmm.
And if not for the coaching journey, I wouldn't be doing this for myself
Yeah.
ever so often. So that's the kind of reflective questions that's coming to me
Yes.
in this
And
moment.
in this moment. Yeah. And that's so important, to be in this moment, to be in the now. Sometimes we kind of daunt ourselves with how big the future is going to be, and here comes a very familiar conversation of how making it big is a pattern that you've observed about me. Cindy says, I totally agree with you, Gopalan, about retirement. I'm retired too, and I'm looking for my purpose after teaching for 30 years. Yes.
So all of us would have to one day transition, and the best transition that you can give to yourself is to do something where you engage people, because life is about engaging with the people around you.
True that. And as you engage, it's also important to understand who is reflecting what to you, and to look at where you are probably the reason for why they're reflecting that way back at you.
Yeah, uh, I know I made so many friends, new friends, which I would not have made over the last 12 months. There's far too many in numbers.
So yes,
So I'm very grateful for that.
as am I, as am I. And I'm very grateful for you, and for the fact that I can count on you and turn to you whenever there's this moment where I feel, okay, Hello, excuse me. Help, please. So, yes. Oh, Johnny's come up with something. He says retirement. So Johnny, tell us a little bit more about that. It's all about our inside after all. Yes, it's all about what is in you, what is within you, what are you holding, what are you consuming, who are the people that you surround yourself with, what is the content that you consume. It's all about what's inside of us. So yes. So yes, tell me.
So, if you decide to stay in darkness, then there will be absence of light.
Powerful. Very powerful. And is that going to be the thought for tomorrow?
Yes, you knew where I was going with that.
Absolutely. And you can reference the video to write it, to jot it down. And that's pretty much how I've accumulated my quotes, because it's engaging conversations like these that lead to your mind opening up and saying, having that light bulb moment where you say something and you go, wow, I should write that down. So yes, Johnny says changing our tires before takeoff is what he means when he says retirement. Hmm.
Yeah, because most of us do retread our tires, but they don't last very long. So we need to actually understand that our full-time career for even 40, 30, 40 years, we used a certain brand or configuration of tires. In
Mhm.
retirement, we can't be using the same tires. It's probably bald by then.
Yes. If
Had too much of braking all over the place, handbrakes going on. So a fresh set of tires would help us roll into the new year and
absolutely.
into our. In fact, I have friends who tell me, "Ah, how nice it must be to ride into the sunset." Yes, in the form of me time, yes, but not retire from life.
So true. Um, Thank you for sharing that. And as as Johnny wrote about changing tires before takeoff, what I was thinking was also the race cars and the pit stop. If a race car just continues to go through the different laps without having that, making that pit stop and getting its tires checked or changed or whatever need be, um, so it's just going to either burn out or they're going to rip apart. You have to make those pit stops.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Otherwise, the threads just come off.
Yes, they do. Cindy seems to have enjoyed bald tires. Love that. Time for some new ones.
Excellent.
Yes. So this is what recitals is all about. Gopalan, do you have anything else to add as closing comments?
Yeah. Thank
Yes.
you again for giving me the privilege and the honor
Thank you. Thank you for being here.
to share the stage with you
My
and being
pleasure.
my host.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'm truly humbled, and I wish you all the best in the year ahead.
Thank you
Um,
too.
a more meaningful and fruitful life ahead.
Thank you. Wish you
And
the same.
I wish all our listeners as well the best is yet to come.
Absolutely. Wish you the same and more. Thank you for being you. Thank you for saying yes. It was an experiment, and as I said, I loved the piece, and I just felt that it has to be shared in your voice on this platform because it's just so worth it. So thank you so much, and people, if poetry, the world of words is something that is calling out to you, and I know that we have a budding writer listening. So if this is something that resonates with you, if you have a piece that you would like to read your own or something that is your favorite piece of poetry, please write into me, let me know, and then who knows, next episode could be recitals with you name it. So thank you so much once again, everyone, for joining. I wish you a happy 2021 and lots of love, lots of luck, lots of success, abundance, and health to you and yours. Thank you. Over and out. Thank you. Yes. Thank you.